Hello, welcome to NX After Dark. I was just tweeting about this episode. So, a few minutes ago, we had one where we migrated a workspace to standalone project configurations. And I guess this one I'm going to be splitting a junk library with the whole domain into multiple libraries. We're going to create a shell library, we're going to create a data access library, a domain library, and some feature libraries. Or maybe not all of it right now, but that's what we're going to start on. And sometime soon, we should also start adding linting to all of our projects. When we migrated from Angular CLI workspace to an NX workspace, I deleted everything that had to do with linting because it was using the deprecated and long time dead TS lint, which you should never be using these days. So, of course, NX comes with built-in support for ESLint and Angular ESLint. So it's a matter of generating the root configuration, and then you can add it to each project you're generating, and I'm going to be manually adding them or for all the existing projects, I guess. So that's for another time. And once we have that, we can start setting up using the tags that we already have and setting up module boundaries that is enforced by tools. So that's very interesting and a nice benefit of using NX in the first place. So let me find the screen, and here's the project again. I'm having a lot of issues with VS Code extensions just crashing all over the place. So let's first remove all this stuff. And good. Okay, so in a previous episode, we already did this with the, let's see, the Crisis Center has been split up into a data access library, a domain library, some features, and a feature shell. I'm going to delete this random folder. So let's do the same for the heroes domain, because right now we just have everything here which was moved from the original application project. So it's just a junk library right now, which is a good place to start. Oh, Gregory is telling me that Angular schematics should work with standalone project configurations. Nice. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Gregory, again. Yeah, so we need to split this one junk library into multiple ones, like we did with the Crisis Center. So actually, there probably won't be any page library. We'll start with the shell library. So let's generate Angular library. It's the feature shell. It will be in the heroes directory. It will, let's see, we'll have some tags. It will have the scope of heroes. Type is feature. We're still using Karma just because this started out as an Angular workspace. So there are migrations from Karma to Jest. I don't actually have any tests, so it doesn't matter, but I'm just keeping with Karma because that's what it was born with, this workspace. I don't know. Maybe we'll switch to Jest later, but I don't know. Don't want to do that now. Okay, so Gregory was saying that standalone config will be the default if every project is already using that. Let's see if that's all the case here. Do we have a project JSON? Yeah. Okay, very good. So that's kind of intelligent defaults, which is nice. Yeah, so I'm going to be generating this feature shell library for the heroes domain. Here it is. So this is the heroes shell, and it's committed. What changed it? NXJSON. Oh, it just added this project object again for some reason. I don't want that. Yeah, okay. Generate heroes shell. Hello, Christopher. Thank you for joining. Where are you at? Which country are you in time zone? It's pretty late here in Denmark, 11:15 p.m. Very dark. So our feature shell, let's see, it generated a module. We're going to keep that. I always start by deleting metadata and only adding what we need. So for a shell library, we're going to need a shell component. Or actually, I think we had another naming thing here. Yeah, it was called the same. It was called like heroes. It will be the heroes component. And now we should, it's because it's already existing in here, right? No? Okay. Oh, this is the one with, yeah, we're going to have to solve this routing somehow. It's going to be interesting because they don't have the same prefix, right? They have 4 different prefixes. That's a mess. Yeah, we can solve it. It's just not going to be very clean, but it's possible. But we don't have right now we don't have this heroes component, which is the shell. So we're going to add one ourselves here. And these days, I actually like to just do it in one file. So creating a component, it's called the heroes component, but it's a shell component, but we don't have to name it after the pattern. So here's selector. What's our prefix here? I have no idea. App hero. All right. Heroes then. So just building this from scratch. And I like doing single file components. So this will definitely have a router outlet. It's the minimum requirement for a shell component. And then we need a scam. Single component Angular module. So we'll actually call it the hero scam to make this clear. And we're going to need the router module for the router outlet directive. I'm going to declare one component, the heroes component. Like so. And we don't have to export it because this will be a routed component. Good. So now inside here of our feature shell module for the heroes domain, we can do, let's see, we're starting with, usually we would start with routes, and it would have just a default route. And then we would have the heroes component. And to use that, we would need to import router module for child. the routes. And we would need to import our heroes scam, like so. And usually we also re-export the router module for shell modules. I don't know. We don't have to. It's just a convention. Effectively, what it does is a module importing this module, the components that module is declaring, they don't have to import the router module themselves, which is unnecessary if we're creating scams. But yeah, whatever. It doesn't. I mean, router module is going to be used no matter what when we have all these shell components. Okay, so this is the starting point. And so where would we hook this up? That would be in the probably in the app project here in the app routing module. Let's see if we already have heroes. Oh, we don't. Yeah, we don't. It's importing this heroes feature page module, which means that nothing is lazy loaded, which is a very bad practice because it'll bundle up the heroes domain, all the features and routes for the main bundle, which is definitely not what we want. So it would be nice to fix this as well. So yeah, we can. Let's start by going up there and lazy loading. So yeah, so normally it would be similar to here. We would have just say heroes, and I don't want to interfere with existing routes, so I'll just do it with a set or a Z for now. And we will lazy load tour of heroes. And now, oh, it's here, great. Feature shell, then mapping to the ES module. Heroes feature shell module. Nice. And here there is a custom feature to preload modules. We don't want to add that. All right. So now they're connected and we have one component showing nothing by default. So add shell component and lazy routes. Good. Next step. Yeah, let's get back to that routing thing later. Next up is splitting out the. Let's see. Let's try the features one at a time. We have two features in this domain: the detail and the list. So let's start by creating a detail feature library. Oh, and now the extension host is dead again. I'm very unhappy with the Visual Studio Code extensions today. Whatever is messing things up. Okay, creating a library. It will be a feature library. It will be called detail. It will be in the heroes directory. And it will have some tags, scope, heroes, type, feature that we can use to set up architectural boundaries and rules for that later. Wow, it's just not my Visual Studio Code's day today. So going to have to reload everything. And hopefully that keeps it running for some minutes. And what did we get? We got this feature detail library. Heroes detail. Feature. Yeah, why not? All right, it has a feature module, always deleting this metadata. And now we can just make a commit. So it'll be easier to see what we're adding. Roll it back. Generate heroes detail feature. So let's take, not from here, from the heroes junk library feature page, we will take just this folder and move it into this new feature library, paste it. And then we start to see that it has some dependencies on, let's see, the hero service, the hero domain entity. And yeah, that's about it. So let's ignore these broken imports for a moment. And instead we will, yeah, so what's declaring this component? Now we have to create a scam. So I will keep, before I showed you that my preferred way currently, which is a single file component with a scam. And now I'm just, for this one, I'm keeping the existing structure. Just for now, we can turn them all into single file components later. And that'll be fun. Heroes detail module. Declarations. Hero detail component. And oh, that's not a good auto import. Oh yeah, it's complaining because of the broken imports. All right, so this is going to be a routed feature as well, so I'm not going to export it, but I need to import the modules for it, the declarables using the declarable dependencies. So if I take the template actually, now I can start to see, okay, what do we need? There's an ngIf, there's an async pipe, so we definitely do need now this common module. And what else do we see? ngModel, that's the forms module, the template-driven one. And anything else? No. Okay, so that should be it. This is now the scam for the hero detail component. And so let's see how we connect that to our feature module. And we do that by importing hero detail module, the relative import. And this is going to be a routed feature. So, and we're going to add routes. And this is a very simple app right now. It's from the Angular 2 of Heroes routing tutorial. So currently it will have just one route, default route actually. So not a good guess how to import. Oh, it's in a folder, right? Hero detail, like so. All right. So we need to import using the router module for child. Routes are parsed, and this detail module is exposed here in our public API, the index.ts barrel file. So now we have a feature module for a routed feature with just one component inside of it, because it's a simple app for now. But this is going to be a scalable and maintainable approach for adding more to this feature later on. Yeah, good. So we did what? We extracted. So it's a refactor commit. Extract hero detail component, or move it to hero detail feature. And I guess we could do one more thing We could now go to the shell. And here we could add the first child route. And yeah, let's we will correct it later. We have to keep the existing routes that are already in the app, but just this is something what we're sorry. Should be both children. This is just we're starting to get there, right? So 2 of heroes feature detail, and then module dot es module dot heroes feature detail module. Now we have lazy loading on this level as well, so that we're loading them in small chunks one at a time. I mean, right now they're very small chunks, but in a fully fledged feature, they will be larger, and it would give us a good performance to do this. Lazy load most of the things by default. Good. So now they're also connected here. Yeah. Let's do the next one. Let's now do the hero list. So again, we will generate an Angular library. We'll call it's a feature library, and it's going to be the list feature inside the heroes domain. So it's the hero list. Here in the heroes domain grouping folder, I'm going to give it some tags. Scope is heroes. I mean, you can use whatever tags you want. So scope might as well have been domain, if that's what the terminology you're using in your team and organization. Scope is just a conventional tag name. So yeah, I'm using it in this workspace. And type. And you can name it whatever you want. What matters is using them consistently and then setting up the lint rules, the workspace lint rules, which we will later. So it's a feature library. We'll generate it, and it should show up right here. Great. And this is the extension host is dead again. Sorry. So the hero list feature. I'm going to restart the VS Code. Man, this is getting out of hand. Okay, so this is generate hero list feature. And we saw that it got the standalone project configuration with the tags and the project properties. And in workspace JSON, we now have this, where is it? Here, this one entry. Oh, let's use the forward slashes for platform compatibility. And Gregory has already fixed it, or someone has at Narwhal, and it'll be in an upcoming release. So looking forward to that. And now extensions are dead again, even the Git extension here. So really annoying. I want to use command line for everything. So this will be an amend commit. All right. So we have this list feature library. Let's go in and grab from our junk library that we're going to empty out and delete. Let's grab this hero list component, cut this folder, move it in here by pasting. And now, again, we have the issue that this doesn't have a module declaring it. So we're going to create a scam. Hero list module.ts. This is an ng module. Come on, extensions. Do I have to write everything by hand today? Apparently I do. ng module. I think I've done this 1,000 times or tens of thousands of times, actually. Okay, this is the hero list module. It is a scam, so it's declaring one module, or one component, sorry. So it's the hero list component. And now we need to look into the imports. Hero list component has some broken imports as well. We'll deal with them soon. Ah, who added this to do? Did I do them? What? Crazy. All right. What's needed? We have ng4, we have async pipe, so we definitely need the common module. And what do we have? The router link. Okay, interesting. So we need the router module for the router link directive. And anything else? No, that's all that's used for this template. All the declarable dependencies. So now we have a functioning scam. And we can use that in here in our feature module. We'll do the same as before, where we say we have some routes. And for now, we just have one route, default one, and the component is this hero list component. So to set that up, we're going to register the route by importing router module for child. And we need to import the hero list scam, the hero list module. And that's it. Yeah. That's it. Then we need to hook it up in our feature shell. And so if there's no parameters, it'll be the empty route path, but it has to be a full path match. Otherwise, we'll never get to this ID one, or we would have to reverse the order. And we're going to load children, lazy loading the 2 of heroes feature list dot then the ES module dot the feature module, like so. The same as before. So now we're code splitting on the feature level, lazy loading everything by default. So that first time you click a link into this feature, it'll be loaded, and if you navigate to the other one, the detail, you'll get this chunk in a separate request. Is NX console broken? Hello, Brandon. Nice of you to join. No, it's not NX console. Or maybe it is. It's some extension in VS Code. I have the latest version of VS Code, and everything has been breaking all day today and maybe yesterday as well. So it's the extension host crashing. I cannot figure out. I tried to disable a few, like the GitHub Copilot, because I'm still on the waiting list, and disabled style lint because it seemed to be throwing some errors, but all the extensions are crashing, so I don't know. So no, I'm not blaming NX console, which I use a lot, by the way. No longer naming .sfc. So it's the single file component. I added that here in the here it is. Yeah. Sometimes I'm doing SFC for single file component, but then again, component has a component. Well, it also has a scam. So I don't know. Trying to figure out what works best. Oh, should share my window for that. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes I'm doing that SFC for single file component, but why not just component? Might be just as good. A good thing about having single file components is I don't really need this folder anymore. So I could just move it up here. I mean, one more file could be added if I'm adding a test suite, which I should, and we'll do that at some point. So yeah, this is how I currently like to do things. There's an upcoming RFC for optional ng modules, at least when it comes to declarable dependencies. We'll finally have proper standalone components, and that will get rid of the need for scams. But if we have broken our application into using scams, it will be a much nicer experience creating standalone components, because we have already taken into account the declarable dependencies, which is what scams are all about, and which is what standalone components will be all about. So yeah, looking forward to that, but trying to manage expectations. There's an RFC, then there will be a few weeks of comments, and then who knows how long before we see it in a version of Angular. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a year, maybe less, and then I'll be happy. But been waiting for this damn thing for, I don't know, 3 years at this point. So I don't have high expectations as to when it arrives. I found some other things to be excited about, and I wrote a book, and it's being published within the next few days or a week at max, right? So it's called Accelerating Angular Development with Ivy. Let's have a quick look if I can find it. So there's a GitHub repo, open source, and yes, Scam is standalone component and module. Nice. Well, standalone component and module doesn't make sense, because the standalone component doesn't need the module. That's the whole purpose. So originally the abbreviation is single component Angular module, because it's concerned with one component, usually declaring it and often exporting it as well, and then importing it, the declarable dependencies. But with standalone component, we don't need the modules for components and linking declarable dependencies. We'll be able to do something like state, I don't know what it's going to be called, like dependencies or depths, or it was imports or something, right? Yeah, I saw a design document somewhere. I think it's going to be called imports, and we'll be able to import other standalone components, standalone pipes, standalone directives, and even modules we'll be able to import. But that's funny, as standalone component and module. That's a nice backronym as well. I like it. And yeah, this is the original term. But it's also for directives. It's also for pipes, not just components, but let's just call it all Scam. All right. Here is the repo for my new book. I co-authored it with Jakob Andresen, another Dane. It's called Accelerating Angular Development with Ivy. It has this nice green cover. It's published unpacked. It's available at Amazon and a lot of bookstores. I have a pinned tweet with tons of tweets about the book and the content, where you can buy it, things like that, and when it will be available, which is in a few days, which I'm really excited about. It's for experienced Angular developers, so if you are already familiar with Angular, this is a great book for you. It's not a how to write a component or service. There are plenty of good books for that. This one is, you already know about all the concept, like dependency injection and components and services and all of this. So, but what's the latest in Ivy? What are the stable features that have been released since version 9 and covering up to version 12? And in this repo, you'll see that we have, here they are. I think we have 12 or 13 different apps. Lots of them are feature apps, so just little code. Well, actually, this first one is pretty. There's some interesting stuff in there. But otherwise, it's something like, here's how to do CSS custom properties with Angular. Here's using CSS custom properties for internationalization. Here's using CSS custom properties for without Angular, just for scoping CSS rules, things like that. And then there's a real world app called Angular Academy. And that's the second part of the book. You'll be adding features with the things you learned in these 4 first chapters, discovering new APIs and language syntax, which is about a ton of Angular Ivy features, and 3 new language features in TypeScript that are also available with Ivy. The second one is boosting developer productivity through tooling, configuration, and convenience. So we see a few examples here of which metadata properties are actually inheritable in Ivy, because it changed between View Engine and Ivy. And how is style binding evaluated. But there's also, what's in this chapter, other things. This is just where there's code available. There's lots of inline code as well. Third chapter is about CSS custom properties, combining that with Angular, the new provider scope. So both any provider scope and the platform provider scope, they're discussed as conceptually they're discussed, and with examples. You'll be using them in the second part to implement a feature or 2 features yourself. Yeah, lots of fun stuff. And here in the 4th chapter, it's about the new Angular components packages. So the YouTube player, the Google Maps components, the component harnesses, and what else is in there? The clipboard service and directive, and a few other things. Second part is 50 pages of hands-on, step-by-step instructions, building features using what you learned. Third part is about developer tooling, like the debugging APIs and the Angular compatibility compiler, how to optimize that for speed, understanding ahead of time compilation limitations and how to get around them, using feature flags as a few examples here. And what else? Like there's a chapter on migrating from View Engine to Ivy, both what's the update process like in general, which manual and automated migrations are there, how do you review them, which optional ones are there, and how do you future-proof your application for APIs that are going to be deprecated or are already deprecated. So staying on top of things, and yeah, just a lot of good stuff. It's the same price all around the world. So I wish there were separate prices for, I don't know, India, Asia, Africa, but the publisher decides. It's Pack Publishing. They own the book. I just get royalties with Jacob. And but yeah, I'm pretty happy with the result. I hope you'll love it as well. I learned a lot writing it. And I especially intentionally chose topics that were, well, first of all, stable features, not experimental things, and then also topics that are not documented very well or at all, or in general just not covered very much or if at all in the community. So 200 pages, 12 chapters. Hope you like it. It's available for pre-order and it's going live in a few days. So comments, Christopher. Is the reason to separate the list in detail? Okay, let's discuss that next. Indirect store, interzone library. Okay, looking forward to the book. Yeah, there's also the Angular Master podcast by Derek. There's a whole episode here, number 13, where we spent half an hour discussing this book and a few other things like technical writing and working remote and things like that, but mostly about the book and its content and structure and all that. So go listen to that as well. I can take the link here, paste it in YouTube comments, and you can listen to that when you feel like it. Good. Back to the app, and you have a question here, Christopher. Is there a reason to separate the list and detail into separate modules? You would put them together in one feature, especially if coupling with NGRX. Okay. NGRX. That's a data access concern. So let's get a clean thing here going. Refactor, move hero list component to hero list feature. Right, but we're starting with starting with you're asking about NGRX, because we saw in both of these cases that now we have some broken imports here. We need a hero service, and we need the hero domain entity. So for that, we're going to need 2 additional libraries: a data access library for the service. I don't think this tutorial is using NGRX, but it's the same principle. It's about state management, or maybe this is about HTTP, but it's the same. It's kind of the same issue we need to solve. So let's start by generating another library, data access for the heroes domain, and we just need 1 data access library for now. And we're going to add some tags. Scope is heroes, type is data access. Generating, and the extensions crashed again. What a wonderful day. Okay, we got our library. I'm just going to reload this thing again. Here's our new data access library. Heroes data access. And this one doesn't need an Angular module. So getting rid of that. And for now, exporting just an empty module. And then we'll commit generate heroes data access. There we go. So now let's go and find this hero service. It's here in our junk library feature page. Here it is. And also the mock heroes are also used with that. There's no actual backend in this tutorial. Moving them in here, and then we're going to export from lib hero service so that the other libraries can import the hero service. And we have 1 broken import remaining, and we'll fix that after updating the imports from these components, because now the hero service is in its own library, data access library for this domain. So to write import from 2 of heroes data access, and it should be here. There it is. But that import is fixed. Let's also go to the detail component. And we have the same issue. Now that's solved. So refactor move hero service to data access. There we go. And I'm just going to address this final issue here with the hero type. So for that, we're going to be generating, then I'll get back to your question, Christopher. So this is going to be a domain library for the heroes domain. And this domain library will have classes and interfaces and helpers for those methods, maybe. Some would also call it maybe types, or I don't know, interfaces, something. I call them domain libraries. And So tag scope is heroes, type is domain. And since we only have one domain library, the full name will just be domain rather than domain heroes, for example. Oh, so is it NX console breaking things? I don't know. I'm using it a lot, so and it still seems to be running. So I don't know what's causing all this. Okay, so we got a domain library, heroes domain, and it doesn't need an Angular module. So we're doing an empty object export at first, and then we're committing the generation of heroes domain. And now we can take from the junk library, take this hero interface, move it to the domain library, and then export it from the public API. Hero. So let's go and fix those imports. Importing from of heroes domain, hero. There it is, and probably here as well. And in the list component, and in the detail component, there we go. Hopefully that's it. All right. Move hero entity to domain. All right. So let's have a quick look here at our libraries. This one will be removed very soon once we finish the routing to preserve the existing routes. Then we'll have a shell library for this whole domain. We'll have one data access library with the hero service. We'll have one domain library with the hero entity. And we'll have a detail feature and a list feature. And you're asking, Christopher, is there a reason to separate list and detail into separate modules? You would put them together in one feature, especially if coupling with NGRX. The NGRX part, I'm solving it by moving the hero service, which could just as easily be whatever NGRX store and effects and all of that, or just component store, a hero store. But moving that into a separate library here, a data access library, so that it can be accessed from all the features in this domain that are going to need it. And I really don't want NGRX to influence how I split libraries, because that's, man, ng modules and tying all of that together with NGRX store and effects, that's a real pain in a large repo. So is there reason to separate the list and detail into separate modules or separate feature libraries? Yes. I mean, right now, obviously, it's just one component, a simple one in each of them. But we're imagining here that this is a... Okay, the lighting. Now I'm losing the light as well. So now it's really dark. Just a sec. Let me try to turn it on again. Nope. I have a, like, the light in the ceiling just broke. It's an old one. Yeah. So I have like a standing light, but it's controlled through an app, and my phone is not here. It's 2 levels up in this house, so don't want to wake up the family just for that. So now it's going to be NX After Dark in the dark. Okay, so why are they in separate modules? Okay, well, I thought you were asking about why are they in different separate features, and the answer to that is because in real application they would be more than one component. There will be more than one route in each of them. So I like to. I find that to be a good way of splitting features and libraries. Each section of the app is one feature library. So right now it looks crazy because there's just one component, but having those logical groups of this is one area of this page or whatever you call it, domain. So that's a separate feature library. It's good for logical grouping. It's good for bundle size when we're lazy loading these separate features. But you're also asking, I thought you were asking about separate libraries, but you're actually asking about separate modules. All right. Well, first of all, there's this point that I like to have a SCAM, a single component Angular module, which just deals with declarable dependencies. So one component, one module with declarable dependencies, a single component Angular module, a SCAM. That is this one. And then there's the feature module, which is the entry point to this whole library. So this is the only thing that is exported publicly in the public API of this library. So it's the target of the lazy route in the feature shell. And the concern or the responsibility of this module is registering the routes for this feature. And there is just one right now. In a real lab, there would be more, usually. So yeah, that's why, because I'm building it like a real full feature app and not. I'm imagining it's not a simple app as this tutorial is. I'm trying to show how I structure larger applications with NX. But yeah, it's always a balance of not splitting too granular, but also not having too large projects, because one of the benefits of NX is that we can split it into all these projects, and then we get things like caching. If we have incremental builds, we'll get caching, we'll get incremental builds. But even when we just have testing and linsing, we will get a performance boost in our tool chain because we can cache the result of each individual project. And when we're using the NX affected command, which I'm using a lot in my CI and CD workflows, yeah, and other good things like that. Also the architectural boundaries, right? So we can say a shell library can only import feature libraries. A feature library can only import UI and data access and utility libraries, things like that, which is what the tags are for. We still need to set up the workspace lint rules so that we can use NX to say, hey, you're a feature library. You cannot import. I don't know. Maybe you can't import another feature library, or maybe especially something like the UI libraries cannot import a data access library. A data access library cannot import UI or feature libraries, things like that. That's something we need to set up with our workspace lint rules later on. All right. So that was my explanation. Of course, you can do whatever you like. I'm using the NX conventions with these library types, and I'm trying to find a balance that I see as a nice fit for many applications. So let's bring back the screen here. Now we have all these libraries. And it's very similar to the crisis center, right? So what is left now in this junk library, the page feature one? Turns out that it's all about the routing at this point. And this is where usually or many times you will have just one prefix. But here we have both heroes. We have hero, superheroes, and superhero. And I don't know. It would probably have been easier if it was just hero or heroes, right? Or superheroes or superhero, but just one of them instead of 4 different ones. So now we have an issue that we need to address because we want it to be lazy loaded, all of this, but we need these route definitions to be inside of our shell module actually. So let's see how we could do that. Let's move them out from here and into our shell library. So somehow these need to go down here. For example, here's the detail component. So it needs to have hero ID and data animation hero as well. Yeah, this data thing, I think I want that inside of the feature library actually. It belongs to that. So let's see if we can make that work. It was, which one was it? Superhero ID is the detail component. So we want this thingy inside of the detail module. Yeah, and I think this will actually work. It will even have the ID parameter passed here, even though it's not even listed inside of here. I mean, we could also do like so. That might also work. Let's see. Yeah, so that was one route down, except, of course, we need superhero needs to be at the top level of the application route as well. So this is an interesting issue. Let's go up to the app, to the routing module, and here, right? Let's create a new route. And we say path superhero ID, or no, let's just say superhero, one of the path prefixes. We need the same thing as we had down here. We need to lazy load the feature shell of the hero's domain. Now we can remove this one. That's the first one down. Let's be happy with that for now. And this one is actually ready to be deleted. But first, let's move hero detail route to hero shell and detail feature. Just like so. Move hero detail route. All right. And let's actually remove this whole, it's called the feature page heroes or junk library. We can finally delete that. Okay, it's saying that the app project is still depending on it. So let's see where that is. Where is it? Oh, right. It was because it was eagerly loaded before. So let's get rid of that. Now, hopefully we can delete it. Nice. Very good. Refactor, remove hero page feature. Nice. That was the junk module where we stuffed everything in until we figured out how to split it into separate libraries. So a few routes left to take care of here. Yeah, let's take this one, the redirect. Wonder if that worked if I did like so. Let's try that. So to support also this hero route path, we need to go back to our app routing module. And now we need another one, but with the hero prefix, but we need to load the same module lazily. So we could just copy paste, or we could make it dry. So load heroes shell. Load heroes feature shell. Now that's in a separate function. And we'll refer to that in these two routes. Hopefully that will work. Hopefully the Angular compiler is smart enough to do this. I believe it is. We'll see once we get it all figured out if it actually works. All right, so now I'm going to commit this called hero route path, hopefully. We have two left. They're referring to this hero list component. So when we have a path of superheroes, we want the hero list component, but that is now from a lazy loaded feature. So it'll be load children, a lazy import of heroes, list feature, then the ES module mapping to the feature list module. And then we have this animation data that I'm going to try to move into this hero feature list module, like so. And then final thing is also supporting this redirect. So, and now we need to support these two route paths in our app routing module. So heroes and superheroes. Heroes, superheroes, loads the heroes feature shell. Nice. Sort, hero list, routes. And if it's my lucky day with code, it will work. Let's see. I have no idea. But yeah, basically now everything's refactored into these 5 different libraries. And well, let's see. Start by building. What? Package JSON. Angular workspace. Dev dependency. Oh, normal workspace, of course. Oh, I'll definitely delete this one and lock the dependencies. There we go. All right. Waiting for the Angular compatibility compiler. And let's try to build the app. Production build. See if there's compilation errors. There we go. You can see all of our lazy chunks as well. Very small ones. Nice. The initial bundle is 376 kilobytes, and that's in development mode. All right, no compilation errors. So let's try to serve it. There we go. Okay. Moment of truth. Do the routes work? No. Hero and then ID says page not found. And why is that? I have no idea what this is. All right, something didn't work as planned. Let's try heroes. That route is working. Let's try superheroes. Those are working. So hero is not the hero detail. But what about superhero? No, that's not working either. Okay. Let's look into those. Oh, is the redirect working? Hero redirects to superhero. Does that work? No, that doesn't seem to work. About like so. Where did you go at? There you are. Might need to restart in case. The path prefix of hero should load the hero's feature shell. Same for superhero, heroes, superheroes. But, I mean, so, oh. 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 So here is this should be what? List should be heroes and superheroes. This one shouldn't be here anymore. Those two routes working properly. Heroes, superheroes. They seem to be working before. Let's check again. Yeah, so now when we enter heroes in the URL, we are there's some error message here from what? From my development server. So I don't know. Most of the things seem to be working, except now this one isn't. That's interesting. Superheroes, no children. Make it full. Full match. I had it working and I broke it. Nice. One route. Oh. Oh, so maybe it was this default route here. This one, was that the one that made something work? That's interesting. I guess so. That says superheroes full. What is working? Then it's not working. All right. All right. So this is a strange use case. How do we fix this? Just trying random things right now. That didn't work. Yes. Maybe this is good enough. Right? Now let's try this. Okay. So wonder if this works. This one be first, and maybe. Nope. What if that's the only route? What will happen? Does it even work? Nope. Yeah. This is really inconvenient. I really don't know how I'm going to solve this. What a tricky angular problem. Nope. If it says superheroes, what's that? A superhero? I don't know. Nope, nothing's working. All right. All right. That's really annoying. I don't know what to do about this, actually. This is really strange. I mean, does it have to... What about this inheritance strategy? Always. Does that help? Anything? By chance? Restart the app? Oh, it's directing to the list component. It's not routing to the detail component still. Sorry, clicked the wrong button. All right. IDE. So, what now? Nope. And if we go to this app routing module, restart. Any luck now? Come on, routes. Nope. It's just not working. Man. Hero. Hero. Nope. I have no idea how to solve this mess. No idea. I mean, I could enable this debug or tracing thing, but I don't think it would tell me anything useful, really. App component. Here, okay. Superhero. No. It was unable to match superhero. This is really annoying. I'm open to ideas. How do we solve this mess without? I mean, we have to support the existing routes. All right. Okay. One idea is routing directly here to features. This is a detail one. And the other one will up to the list. And everyone except me will be happy. Right? Come on, Angular. It's time to behave. Hero list. Oh, man. I didn't realize I had this ID parameter here all the time. Maybe that could solve something. I don't know. Let's see. What? All right. I feel really stupid. Oh. Okay, well, that was half an hour of agony. For man, I had the ID parameter here. I mean, I'd like to have the ID parameter here, but then it was actually defined in two places because it's the only thing setting apart the detail route from the list route. Strange. But it was me messing up. Of course. Oh, of course it was. What can I do like this? Then I'll be perfectly happy. Restart just to check. Superhero 11 and Hero 11. Heroes, superheroes. Okay. All the routes are working as expected right now. So commit that. I have one more thing that I'd like to try, and it's doing a full full for this one, and everything else will go here, and I will move this ID parameter to where I originally wanted it. That also worked. Let's make sure. Let's rebuild everything. All right. Wow. So, yeah. Move route parameter to detail feature. Whoa. Finally. After all that, just walking through mistakes. But it was complicated because now we have this app routing module. We have 4 different route paths or prefixes. Heroes will redirect to superheroes. Superheroes will lazy load the heroes feature shell. And hero will redirect to superhero. Superhero will also lazy load the heroes feature shell. The heroes feature shell has 2 routes. If there are no parameters, it will direct to the it will lazy load the list. If there's well, basically this matches everything else. So even though there's not a parameter listed here, everything else will go in here, and it will become an ID parameter, which is loaded into our detail component here. Good. So that was all the complicated routing. And library-wise, we have data access library with the hero service, a domain library with the hero entity, a detail feature, a list feature, and a shell feature. Let's have a look at that. Man, not again. Crashing extensions. Let's have a look at the dependency graph. See how that looks. It looks like so. And if we go to the heroes, here it is. This is what it looks like. The hero service depends on the shared data access for messages. The list feature depends on the data access, which also the detail feature does. They all depend on the hero's domain class. The app only depends on the feature shell, which depends on each of these routed features. So this is typically how I do with NX workspaces. And we can see that this is the whole workspace with all the features. And yeah, interesting enough, there are no dependencies between Crisis Center and Heroes. But of course, there are some shared dependencies down here and some data access libraries for navigation, for messages, for security, UI for navigation, UI for dialogues. And then we have these two admin and auth domains that they're also just in basically junk libraries with everything that was original inside of this app, which is now a really small project, having dependencies to all these features. Yeah, but this is typical of something what I would do in an NX workspace. Of course, not this one is really simple, but in real apps, it will look something like this. Very good. Thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for to everyone who visited. That was way more than I wanted to do, but we succeeded in the end. And yeah, I knew it was going to be a little complicated to get those 4 different routes to work. But we did. The light broke. The extensions broke all the time, but we finished. So that's it for today. Keep learning, and I'll see you some other time.